Reece James versus Trent Alexander-Arnold. Where do you stand with that one? As objective and unbiased as you can be, like, where do you stand with that one?
To start with, I'll say my overall first answer. I'll say I think Trent's better overall as a football player, as a defender. I think overall Trent is better, in my opinion. I think Trent is world class. He's, for me, one of the best right backs in Europe, if not the best right back. Reece James is just underneath that level. Even though he's won the CL with Chelsea, I think he's just underneath that level. Even though he's won the CL with Chelsea, I think he's just underneath that level. And yeah, I think he's probably just underneath right now. But I still think they're close together. And don't get me wrong, I think the main thing we all know about Trent, defensively, he's always been suspect. You saw last season without Van Dijk in that team, he got exposed on many, many occasions defensively. Against Chelsea, I always bring back Chelsea to every single question you answer. The 1-0 win away at Anfield, he got done by just a simple ball in behind the defence. And Mason Mount went inside. You couldn't get close to him, then he scored the goal. So defensively, Trent, I think, is nowhere near Reece James. Reece James is a physical beast. His reading of the game is absolutely second to none, in my opinion. He was actually really good in the right centre back position as well. I don't know if you saw last night. He was absolutely superb against Bertrand Traore. So yeah, defensively, Reece James is better, but going forward, I think Trent is a complete different gravy. Just his runs behind the defence, his crosses, his goals, his assists, everything going forward for me is just a complete different level for Reece James. And I saw quite an interesting quote from, I believe it was Jamie Carragher, saying, why not move Trent into midfield? Why not play him central midfield? But the thing is, when you're playing right back, you have so much more time compared to when you're playing midfield. If you're playing midfield, you're in the engine room constantly. You're getting pressed by DMs, pressed by Premier League big physical midfielders. But if you're right back, especially when you're Liverpool and teams tend to sit back against you, you have that room to pick out a pass, pick out a switch ball, pick out a diagonal ball, and that's why Trent has so much time. And that's why I feel like he is being covered by Van Dijk, just so he can slot into that role. So, yeah, but overall, I'd say Alexander-Arnold is better, and that's fair to say. I think he is. But I think in the future, Reece James, if he can go forward, improve his runs into the box, take on players more, get his crossing kind of percentage a bit higher, there's nothing stopping it from being better. Because I think overall, Reece James has the ability to get ahead of Alexander-Arnold.
Yeah, well said. I think the Liverpool fans would actually love this one. They would love it off, man. I'm telling you. I personally think Reece James is the better player simply because he's more physical, he's more aggressive, he's faster, he's stronger. He is capable of pulling off the same caliber of crosses that Trent pulls off from corners, from set pieces, from runs, everything. And he has an eye for goal, and his returns have been very, very good. And what I think trumps Trent Alexander-Arnold is the defensive part of Reece James's game. Positionally and everything, Reece James have a more sense of where he needs to be. Whereas Trent is caught running back most of the times. If you check the AC Milan goals, Trent Alexander-Arnold is running back. His back is towards the opposite side. Where he should have the back towards his goal, he's running back. You see what I'm saying? So I think Reece James is a more all-around type player who could even play a defensive midfield role if needed, a right side center-back role if needed, where he usually does that, and a right back or a right wing back position. Trent is a midfielder. Even Gareth Southgate knows this. He played him in the midfield for England. So the debate about, maybe if Trent Alexander goes into midfield, who knows? As you mentioned, he could get exposed, and so maybe the right wing back position is the best, but he'll always need that extra cover because he's always up the field. And when he's back, he always not more time than often get outplayed by the attacker, in my opinion. So well said. Look,